It's a fact. You have to be so tough mentally. And it's like, how do you do that? You find a way to take care of yourself because nobody else will. You have to figure it out. And I've been like figuring out ways, and everything that we did helped me so much. But the beauty of it is like when I focused on results too much and the ranking, it wasn't going well. Like now I'm more like driven by the way I feel. It's so connected. My mantra lately is honestly one point at a time, next point, or like next thing that I need to do today. And being more in tune with myself and trusting my instinct and my gut more. Because I think that's so crucial. Because when you're in a line with yourself, with your body, then you just need to listen to it and it's going to give you all the answers. I've noticed with too much journaling, too much meditating, too much doing things, I get too much in my head. I overthink it totally. Too much, too much, too much. So then, like, I try to find one or two things that work currently, and then I just focus on that, right? And that's it. Like, big riff. Look where you are. Look how far you've come. Like, give yourself some credit. Pat yourself on the back. Be kinder to yourself, and accept. And then it's easier to accept that negativity, and to move on because we can always. Life is just about like perspective, how you look on things in life. You can always look in different ways, and you put yourself in a certain state of mind. I'm like, I'm not gonna let tennis destroy my mood for the rest of the day. I went after and I did something that makes me happy.
Dobro, ajde, krenemo.
Može.
Ajde, hello Emma.
Hi.
Hey, thank you for being in this, being the Genuine Athlete podcast, because I know you're a very genuine person. You're my sister from the Balkans, and we met through my partner Anya. She was a tennis player, so that's how we connected in a way.
Yes. I'm really happy that we have a chance to dive deeper in the conversation and do this. I'm happy. Thank you for inviting me to be a guest on your podcast.
Well, it's all my honor on my side because you're a busy person, a busy female entrepreneur, an athlete, a mom, single mom in a way as well, in a way. So
Not,
it's a lot on your plate.
yeah, not totally single, but yeah, I mean, yes, yes,
Yes. And,
yeah.
and an influencer and a content creator. You're not all over the place. You have a quite specific niche, but yeah, you're doing a lot.
Yeah, I am. I am doing a lot. You're right. You're right.
Okay, let's just dive into it. My main intention is to present to the audience that being authentic, being genuine, is a new currency. That you don't need to follow a certain agenda, a certain model, but really be true to yourself, because that's what I see in you. You anyway have that in your blood from where you come from Bosnia, Europe, but it's who you are and how you present yourself. And I believe and I see that you play your tennis as well in that way. How can you maybe explain a bit about being authentic, what it means to you?
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. It's interesting that you say that. It means to me like to stay true to myself, to stay true to who I am, and it hasn't always been like that. Like I grew up in Bosnia, which is a very small country, and people there are very like close-minded. So it's very tough to like stay authentic, stay true to yourself because you always want to like you always care so much about what others think, and like what others are gonna say. And then like also growing up playing tennis, it's like you define who you are based on your wins and losses. Like it's I was just talking to somebody earlier about that. Like with my story, with my comeback, I want to show more that it's more than just like winning and losing. Like what I'm doing is really like staying true to who I am, doing what I truly want, and not caring what this person or that person is gonna say. Like um, It's very but living that life is very rewarding as well, because you come to the point of like freedom and peace with yourself, like you you free yourself basically, in my opinion, because once you let go, and I'm not saying I'm still like perfect at that, like, or maybe, I mean, I wouldn't say perfect, but like I am. So I did switch my mind to like be authentic and stay true to who I am in the last few years. But now with me is like I'm on this journey of discovering myself again. Like who am I? Who is Emma? You know, and on a deeper level in every possible way, personally, business wise, and everything. And that comes with like trial and error, trying new things, figuring it out. And then you're like, okay, well, this is not working. Okay, it's okay. Or in my personal level, okay, like, going through a lot of things personally in the last 2 years, going through a divorce after 10 years. And then it's like, what do I want in a partner? What do I like? What does a perfect date look for me? Or, like stuff like this. It's so important to actually know yourself, and that's what I'm working on currently, but by staying true to who I am, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the perfect answer in a way what I want to get from you and share with others, because this is who you are. You stepped on your way. You were a tennis player, pro tennis player, young, teenager, playing on the pro level already, and then college and still playing pro level. And then you just decided to marry and to have a family life. You just
Yes.
decided. You went that way because something made you do that and you felt like that. But
Yes.
you've had this yearning, you've had this power in yourself to cope with the life's pressure differently, and understanding that you don't need to be contracted and losing energy this way, that you would rather invest everything and even break up and divorce if the husband, ex-husband now, does not support you in this way, in your path, that you go your way and you find your true voice and your true game in a way in life.
Yeah, that's so true, because I don't look at anything as like mistake or like, oh my God, this shouldn't have happened. It was my journey. At the time, I felt like that was right, right? But I don't think it was for the right reasons. Like, when I got married and everything was more like of, okay, that's the next step. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, okay, that's the next thing and next thing and next thing. And then you're living this life and you're like, what am I actually doing? Like, is this who I am? So that like journey actually did start like way before. But then, it comes with it came with a lot of hardships too. You have to go through some really, really bad times to get on the other side and on the surface, like to to find yourself.
Yeah,
It's a
because
journey.
everyone is like, a lot of people are searching for a recipe. Like, I need to have this, or I need to follow a certain model or something. Maybe not. Maybe if you would have stayed a player or not, maybe you're a player now because you have two young boys of 3 and 4
Exactly.
or 5 or 5 years. Maybe you're a better player now because you've had that thing behind you. You've lost some years in a way for your in a body version option, but you're still making the most out of it now. And maybe you are playing now, but before maybe you would be injured and not having a family at all. So it's not like you need to follow a certain life path. You did what you do what you do, and now you are making the best out of it in the sense of finding yourself, like you say. And we've had a brief contact 2 years ago, a year ago, for a month or more, maybe several more weeks, that I worked with you on the breathing and with the AQ exercises. How are you now that you're more into the professional tennis back and winning matches, and you're already into top 1000. That's not a joke. That is something, and you're already into top 7 or 600 in the doubles. So it is advancing, you are advancing, and that's not a joke, because there aren't many players that can do that and do that. They want, so it's not just something taking it lightly. How are you connecting by what you've learned from me or what you are doing in life? How are you balancing the mind and the body? Managing, does your body serve you? Are you taking care of it more than just with the vitamins and the food, also with the rehab or with recovery and what I also taught you and shown to you?
Yeah, that's a good question, because, and it's interesting how put it in that way. Like it's not a joke, and it's like I'm actually, when I think about it, yeah, there's so many players that are like trying, like to be like I'm 900 and six something in doubles, and I'm like, wow, I'm actually doing it. It's happening. Like obviously my goals and my dreams are higher, but I need to be grateful to like and appreciate to where I am, and to keep going. But the beauty of it is, like, when I focused on results too much and the ranking, it wasn't going well. Like now I'm more like driven by the way I feel, like, because this sport is so tough. Like you're week in, week out, you're playing, you're losing, you're not making money. It's just like so hard to stay positive and to stay grounded. It's a fact. It's a fact. You have to be so tough mentally, and it's like, how do you do that? You find a way to take care of yourself, because nobody else will. You have to figure it out. And I've been like figuring out ways, and everything that we did helped me so much. Like you said, it's not just about taking care of putting tennis practice in, putting fitness practice in, doing the physio, doing that stuff. It's not just that. If you don't take care of your body, of your breathing, of your mental health, like all of this can go down the drain. Everything that you're putting in, because it all has to be aligned. And I mean, I cannot tell you exactly what is more important, if one is more important or another. There's no one recipe that works for everybody. You have to figure out what works for you and apply it. I kind of listen to my body. Like when I feel like I need more of something, then I go and do more of that. Like I'm way more, like, how it helped me is like I'm way more calmer on the court, with the, like, I don't have, I, it's not that I don't have at all, but like way less than before, like that breathing of like, like I get so tight, and like my whole body gets tight. I can't even hit the ball because I'm not breathing properly. Now, like everything is in a line more with everything that I'm doing, and it's showing in my game too, So it's like, it's a constant work. Sometimes I have to work more on my breathing, sometimes I have to work more on my fitness. It's all connected. Like one can't work without another. That's basically how it works.
And you didn't know that before, right? Like so
No,
many years ago.
no, I didn't, because I didn't really like, I didn't understand. I,
So
don't, I didn't think I had the capacity, the maturity to understand.
you're wiser now?
I'm so wise.
You're hacking life and tennis because you need to balance your kids, your boys, yourself, your business, your tennis, and the goals, the ambitions. So tell me, are you more of a push or more of a flow person now? How are you balancing this? Because you cannot just push and you cannot just be the flow. And tennis is literally like representation of life. You need to play chess, you need to have diversity. You cannot just have one recipe, be one-minded. You need to have that big scale or big picture of the game and everything. How are you managing in life and tennis this
Yeah,
push flow?
it's so connected. It's so connected. My mantra lately is honestly one point at a time. Next point, or like next thing that I need to do today. if I start thinking about it, if I start thinking as soon as I like in the match, okay, I start thinking about, okay, oh my God, it's this and this. What if this happens? Or what am I? Then I get in this zone, like, oh my God, like get overwhelmed and I'm overthinking. But if I just focus, this is it, this shot, this serve, this return, next shot, that's it. And that's in life too. If I start thinking about everything that I need to get done today, my to-do list, my everything, I get so overwhelmed, so anxious, and I'm not productive. I don't get anything. It's like I just wasted all this time and I wasted time, you know. But if I'm like, okay, Emma, now you're doing this, now you're here, this is it. Put your whole focus, whole mind into it. And another thing that I've been really, that push and flow, what you said, I don't really plan too much, or like don't look too much in the future what's gonna be. Yeah, I have to plan for tomorrow or next week or next month, the tournament or whatever, like, or my lessons or meetings, Zoom calls, like all of that, yes. But like I'm letting it like more, I'm more in a flow and being more in tune with myself and trusting my instinct and my gut more, because I think that's so crucial. Because when you're in a line with yourself, with your body, then you just need to listen to it and it's going to give you all the answers. So that's where I'm at now. And it took me a while to get here, and with everything in life, honestly, if there's something a little bit that's like, I'm like, mm, and noticing these things, how I feel around certain people, how I feel in certain places, how I feel doing certain things, and listening to it more and paying more attention, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm grateful that it appears that some things that I explained to you have stuck in a good way, and that you've listened to understand how important it is for a woman as well, not just a man, but for a woman even more, to have this intuition, to have this feeling, to have the whole body, like I explained to you, for the diaphragm and for the muscles of the torso, to have them relaxed and not tense when it's not needed, not
Yes.
contracted when it's not necessary, but only when it's necessary. You're on the training, of course you're there, you're going to hit the ball, move and everything, but when you can be relaxed, and when you're with the boys, you're with the boys. You're not thinking about all the pressure, what you lost, what you want to gain or have gained, but being there. So this is, I'm very, very grateful and happy that you are going that way, because when we met a couple of years ago, you weren't there, and you were asking me, calling me, and I was talking, and you went through drama situations as well with the
Oh my
divorce
God.
and
That
everything.
was the first
Uh,
time.
but you've
Oh,
gone, you've done the steps, and you've changed,
it's
and
good.
now it's more like you're more based, you're aligned, and this is that you build now, like you said. So it's good. It's very good.
Building on it, to me, it's just crazy when I just think about all the phone calls and everything that we had and everything that I went through. Those were really tough times. Oh my God. Really, I was really not in a good place. But you see, everything comes with time, and you have to go through these bad things, and you have to have people like yourself, like at the right time when I needed you, that you were there for me to help me to get to where I'm at today, basically.
Everything is a consequence. Those were the days, the challenge of negative kind that you had as a consequence of you not being true to yourself or trying to follow a path. And that's why it was hitting you from all sides. And it was, you needed to go through shit. In the AQ method, we say if you want to go out, you cannot go around. You need to go through the shit, through the tunnel
Yes,
in order to get out
yes,
of it. You cannot make a detour and find and believe and want and desire only the good stuff. So yeah,
totally.
that's good. How much do you feel now, after already having a whole year in a way in a professional tennis back, after 5, 6, 7 years, how do you feel now that some things are not normal? That you're like, this is not normal, and I can't change this. Because probably before, and also being a mom, you've taken a lot of things and you've explained them to yourself. Oh, this is okay, this is normal. Like having pain, being exhausted, having a burnout, not sleeping well, or just not thinking on yourself, putting yourself the last as a mom. How are you? How many things you've realized that are not normal and you're now changing them as well in your tennis, your life?
Oh my God, I really have some like non-negotiables. I was talking to somebody the other day. She's like, "I'm doing so much. I'm not sleeping. I'm not this. I'm not that." I'm like, you know what? My sleep is my priority. Because I know if I don't get enough sleep tonight, I'm not going to function tomorrow. I'm not going to be good for anybody. My mood changes, my energy, my body hurts more. Like everything is just like, that's not normal, and I don't take that. So, and also noticing like when I am at that burnout, when I feel like I'm overdoing it, like the other day, like last week, I had one of those days. I haven't had it in a while. I was literally like, I came to practice in the morning. I mean, I woke up at 5, got, like do all my routine, do everything, practicing, like, ugh, I wasn't good on the court and I was like more nervous, not nervous, more, how you say that word, annoyed and irritated. Like everything was just like pissing me off. I'm like, okay, this is no. This is not who I am. This is not how I should be acting. First of all, so like, what's wrong? Okay, what's wrong? I'm exhausted. And then after that, I had to go do the gym. Then I had to do this, then listen. And you know what? I'm like calling it a day. When before I would just push through it. I would just push through it. No, it's not okay. And I know I'm not a person that's just like giving up or like, oh, I'm lazy. I literally went to the gym after that to like at least let me stretch. I I fell asleep on the mat. I'm like, okay, this is not okay. And there's some like things, and then what was it? Then, oh, I was about to get my period also. Well, that makes sense. My body is more tired. I'm getting close to my period. I need to listen to my body, not train too much. Then it can lead to an injury. Like all these things where before I would just push through. It's okay. You're about to get your period. It's not a big deal. Just push through it. You need to practice. No, I don't. It's not gonna make it or break it if I miss a tennis practice or a gym practice today when I'm doing the work every other day. So it's like, but that was tough for me, like because I work hard and I do so much that's like hard for me to do that and to listen to my body. So those are the things that are now, you know, that I've changed and seen it as not normal and normal. Or
Cool.
like saying no to people, no to things like unnecessary conversations that drain my energy, or people just to be friends with just because I've been friends for a long time and we need to stay friends. I'm like, why am I actually friends with this person? Like, what good is he or she bringing to my life? I'm like, I feel exhausted after spending 2 hours with this person because they're just so negative and they're, like I don't need that. Or like, why do I come to dinner tonight? Okay, let's, I haven't been, I want to have a social life. I have a social life different. Like learning also that it's okay to say no and to listen to yourself and to do what you want to do, not what you should be doing. Have this, go here, go to this event. Who cares? Like do what you want to do. And that's where I'm at, honestly. That's that's and it's so much nicer to live like this, to be honest with you. Like you need to be selfish in a way, you really do have to be selfish. And I've been more selfish, but also I've been better to the people that matter in my life, mostly my kids, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, you are real. You are in contact with reality because you're in contact with yourself, with your body, because the body will always be right, the
Yes,
feelings, the intuition, the gut, and the body will always be before and sooner than the mind
yes,
wants to, or the mind is in a caloop or in a model, in some kind
yes,
of box the mind wants to go there, but the body is saying to you, period, this, that. So, and you're not losing, you know, a game, or like many pros are saying, you need to be on the edge. Yeah, if you're a man, maybe, but you're a
Yeah.
woman, you need to adapt. You have hormones up and down. You cannot play the same when your progesterone is up or down. It's different. Your
Mm.
serve is different, your elasticity, your flexibility, your movement. It's a different ball game. How are you dealing with being a woman, being a mom, playing this role, and yet as well being in this crazy masculinity world of competition, of maybe some, not to insult anyone, crazy women that compete, that steal points without the umpires, or maybe some coaches that are like that, and that the world, the training maybe, and the game of tennis is not adapted to a female version.
I never thought about that. I never thought about that. That's an interesting question. I mean, I don't know if I have adapted or I'm just going with the flow with how it is. Um, I don't. I don't see it as, um, at least for now. I don't see it as too like challenging per se. You know, I don't. But maybe some other people do. Maybe because I'm pretty tough from Eastern Europe, so you know that's how I grew up. I can say maybe I'm one of the tougher ones, but it's a lot. You have to be tough. You really have to be tough. Yeah, there's a point where you're kind and all that, but like when you're out there, it's a war zone. you know, like no mercy, no mercy, and everybody's like fighting for life. It's literally war zone. If you just saw some of the matches today, the first round qualies of a 35K here in Florida, I mean, the level, I mean, it's insane. It's insane. I'm like looking around, I'm like, how is this first round qualies of a 35K? And we're so, mm, sorry, it's completely off topic. We're so like not respected and valued enough for how much work we put in as professional athletes and everything that we do. You know how much you make by going to 35K? You lose first round of qualies. You know how much you make?
Minus.
$10.
Yeah.
$10. $10. That's so embarrassing.
And if you compare it with the money that's evolving in the tennis culture and life and everything that is available.
Now they're increasing it like Australian Open. Like
Yeah,
it's insanity, like the money. Like but the gap between this and that, it's
it's insane. Yeah.
insane. And why do they make it so difficult for people to break through there? They make it almost impossible, to be honest with you. Like you have to work, you have to find a way to make money to be able to do it, to
Yeah, you're
try.
losing money. You're losing money if you're not breaking through.
You really are. You really are. And it's a fact. And it's a constant battle of like dealing with that pressure, like you try not to think about it, but it's a reality, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot, and you feel powerless because you are a part of a system,
Yeah.
and you need to be in it if you want to succeed or break through and fulfill your dreams, or your fulfill the satisfaction, the need that you have. But it's still, I explained a while ago to a client of mine, because she asked, why does it have to be so difficult having kids or doing business? She's also a lady, quite successful worldwide. And I explained to her, because our body is built in that way. Whoever designed us, whether it was Anunnaki or the God or whoever the creator was, our diaphragm, the breathing diaphragm that separates our pulmonary and heart cavity with our abdominal cavity, the muscle is like a banana, but it's up. So it's easier to exhale. You die with an exhale. If you want to live, you need to inhale. But if you want to inhale, you need to push the inverted, the concave banana down to make it flat, so that your lungs can fill with the air and that you have a massage of internal organs, And just in between an information, 100 years ago, diaphragm was moving 4 to 10 centimeters in each individual, up and down, the range of motion. Now it's maybe 1 centimeter on average, nothing, because everybody is just breathing shallow, everybody is just in stress, abdominal cavity is intense. And like you said, you're in a war zone. People feel like in a war zone. If they're not, they create it in a tennis world. And then you're struggling double or triple wise to break it through and to actually use your body. So I wanted to ask you, it's a bit of a joke, and then I want to flip it around. That's why I'm going in this way. Please pronounce, you know, what women wear around the neck or on the earrings or the, what's this like?
Oh, no.
No, it's stay with me, stick with me, please. How do you pronounce it?
Jewelry.
Jewelry. Okay. I'm not making fun of you. I just want to make a point.
Okay.
How much is important in life, not just on a tennis court, on training and then in the match? How much is important to be responsibly, the word serious doesn't sound well, maybe focused, to be in touch, in tune, and not lose it, or not maybe make fun of yourself or the opponent or maybe your kids, and to be like set. Because a lot of people, I heard Andy Murray said it, now that he's working with Novak Djokovic, that's why he sees, and it's confirmed in him, why he was Andy Murray and why Novak is Novak, even 5 times more successful than Andy, because he doesn't make fun on training. And he sees other players making fun on training, in a match. They like lose it a bit. They like make fun a bit. That's why I inserted this inside. It's not to make fun of you. It's just to ask you, how do you feel that when you are in the flow, that when you stay focused with your voice, with yourself, with the training, with tennis, what's the consequence? What's the outcome?
Again, I don't think there's a one recipe, one thing that works for everyone. You have to figure out what works for you. I am figuring out more and more that with myself, it's better if I stay more relaxed and keep things more fun. Because if I'm too much like this, I put so much stress and so much pressure on myself that I completely tense up. You know, not in a way that like oh la 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 too much, you know, but to find kind of like a medium. You know, like today in the match when I was playing, the whole time it's like a battle back and forth, like figuring it out. But at the end, what cost me the match is I got too tight. You know, instead of like play the game, enjoy it, have fun. You love this game, you love this sport, that's why you're doing it. You know, I mean, that's different from like being focused. I'm focused on every point, but also having fun with it and not like putting pressure, if that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect. Perfectly. How are you finding, or maybe if you've gotten there, or maybe you heard me say it, I think I mentioned to you once, how are you finding this approach that when you play a game, it's not like I need to play like in the super tiebreak you played today, you need to win at least 10 points and the opponent 8 or 12-10 like you was defeated, but how are you playing in the mind? It doesn't end. Because if you put it in your mind, it will end when I reach 6 games or 7 games in a tiebreak. It will end when I reach this amount of point, that you just maybe cheat yourself and your ego or the pressure or the expectation and the mind that it ends somewhere, because you're going to play next match tomorrow, even if it's in the doubles, or next week in the singles. It's like it's a never-ending story, and it's not just you end the match. For me, at least, it worked when I was playing table tennis. It didn't end at the 11th point, and I needed to be in my mind, I'm gonna play until 20th point. So I've won a couple of matches, and the opponent was shaking my hand, and I was like, what, we still need to play. I didn't even watch the score. I was so focused in the game and not in the result.
It's so funny you say that because today, oh my God, it was like 4-2 for me in the tiebreak. And I'm like, okay, 6 more points. I'm like, oh no, 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 no. Why are you saying that? Like I'm literally I'm like, why are you telling yourself? oh my God. Then literally this is conversation in my head. I'm like, oh my God, 6 points seems like so long. Oh my God, can I even win 6 more points? Like, oh, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it that you need 6 more points. Just play the next one. Play the next one. And it's like 6-4 for me. It's like, okay, four more right here. It's like, why was I doing that today? It was like crazy. Um, you can't do it. You can't. I don't think it's good. Like, it did not help me today. But it
Yeah.
was just like something that was in my head today, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Stop doing it, basically. Anyways,
Because it's like Goran Ivanišević said on one, I think he was on US Open, and some journalist asked him something. He said, it's 5 or 6 Goran on the court. One Goran wants to drink beer. One Goran wants to serve an ace. The next Goran doesn't know and feel good. Maybe it's going to be a double fault. The fourth Goran wants to kill his dad on the stands. So it's like the adversity, the challenge, the pressure, it brings out of us everything that's underneath, the subconsciousness
yes,
patterns and the
yes,
fears. So if
yes.
you don't work on that, of course, it's gonna, catch you up either or sooner or
It's gonna
later.
surface, yeah.
So
It's
that's
gonna.
why I just mentioned this, because I figured that you mentioned you were tight and you lost in this tiebreak. Probably you were thinking about points, and you cannot. You need to focus on the content and staying, like with the voice, probably as well.
Yeah,
If you focus on certain outcome, or I
yeah,
just have this much time, you're gonna blow it. You're gonna make an error.
totally, totally.
How is it with your subconsciousness patterns that you are, like you mentioned now, that you are becoming more aware or observing them that pop up when you don't want them? It's like a vicious ego comes out exactly when it doesn't need to. Like you were playing already two sets. You were playing more than 50 or 80 or 100 points. And then all of a sudden, oh, I just need 6 more. I just need 4 more. Why? It's like so many points behind you and so many points before you in your career that you're still going to play for the next years. Like, why did it come? Are you touching this, your subconsciousness patterns? Are you observing? Are you journaling?
I mean, it's been tough. I've been trying to like minimize things, if that makes sense. Like, I've noticed with too much journaling, too much meditating, too much doing things, I get too much in my head. I overthink it totally. Too much, too much, too much. So then, like, I try to find one or two things that work currently, and then I just focus on that, right? And that's it. Like, today was literally just um, the last time I just won a tournament a week ago. It was really good. Like, I played 6 very good matches. I did not play perfect tennis, but I was so stable with my mind. I had this kind of like a stoic mindset of like, I was so calm, no matter what the score was. Like, where I was kind of at peace with myself. I know I'm doing the right things. I know I'm doing the right things. And I had this like weird like belief of like, you got this. Like, this is yours. You're gonna do this. Like, I just kept telling myself that. No matter what the score was, no matter what I was playing, I'm like, you got this. This is yours. You're winning this. Like, you got this. I don't know. Like, that worked. Today, I was telling myself that too, honestly, when I felt like I was going a little bit with my thoughts, thinking about random things or something that happened last night, like in the middle of like, it's like 3-all deuce, and I'm like thinking about somebody or something. Like, what, Emma? Like, focus. Like you said, it's crazy. Tennis matches, like what happens in a player's head from like start to finish, it's insanity, like insanity. And I spoke to my opponent after the match too, and she's like, at levels like these, like she's like, if you're a 15K or like lower levels, like you can lose your focus for like a game or two, whatever, and you're fine, right? Matches like these, tournaments like this, you cannot afford that. You cannot. You go down, you give a game or something, that other person is back in the game, and it's like the game changes. You cannot lose focus. You really cannot afford it. So it's like figuring it out constantly. So for me, it's like I am journaling when I feel like I need to, not like I used to put pressure on myself. I have to do it every day, like let me go. Oh, I shouldn't do it on the computer. I need to write it. And my hand starts hurting. I'm like, oh, I hate this. I'm like, why am I doing this? Or like, like some even breathing stuff or meditating, or like sometimes it's just like, I don't know. I just figure out what works at the time. And even today after the match, I felt like I still feel like I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path, like, and I want it to be like win or lose. I keep working on myself as a person, right? And it's gonna help me on the tennis court. So whatever happens, happens. If I walk off the court, that I'm not completely devastated. I wasn't in pain also. Like I'm not, my body is not hurting. My arm used to hurt so much more, like because everything is aligned. But if I'm under so much stress, then everything hurts. I mean, I am sore a little bit, but what? Anyways, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. You just mentioned what it's actually necessary. You don't need to think about everything about mathematics and about chemistry and whatnot. You need to be in tennis. And for tennis, you need certain things, certain intelligence, certain mindset. It's not everything. So that's very good that you're narrowing it, because that's what it's necessary. And that's where you are now. Maybe in 5 years or 10 years, when you're going to be doing something else, you're going to need a different kind of perspective. So wider. So that's all working. Yeah.
Exactly. You have to know where you are in your life, and
Yeah.
accept and own it and do the best that you can, I guess.
And you mentioned it now in the last answer that you're correlating or understanding how stress and contraction and being tense and uptight is also inducing injuries. And as I see, you have maybe less injuries or not as much or not as big. And how are you, like, it's where you're going, what you're explaining today, tonight, what I see that you understand this and you are working more on being relaxed and not
Yeah.
uptight. How does
Yeah.
it play for you?
I mean, it's a game changer because, well, I mean, I used to get injured like every week, and like be in so much pain. But just the fact that I played almost 3 hours today and I didn't have to go see the physio after, for me, it's a win. Like I just remember my first tournament back last April. I was, oh my God, everything was hurting. Or like before, like pull a muscle here, pull this there, pull that there. It's just like something. Um, it helps so much. It's correlated 100%, million percent. Yeah.
What about accepting the reality, the negatives? Because people want just the win. People want just to feel good and nice and that everything works out. But that's very one-way life, and life is always duality. Life is always also pain, also sadness, also despair, also fear that you experience. I feel and I ex expect that you understand this more and that you're more like we already determined in the beginning of the conversation, you are wiser. So how is this accepting the negatives or this part of the duality as well working for you?
It's tough, I'm not gonna lie, because I think tennis really also humbles you because you're dealing with losses all the time, right? And you have to accept it. You have to, because otherwise you're gonna break down totally, and I see the girls doing that to themselves, like every tournament, like self-destructing in a way. So you have to, I mean, it's easier said than done. You have to accept it, like today, it's like after the match, I'm still like, I'm gonna be probably dreaming about those last 2 points, right? And I didn't win any money. I didn't win any points. Okay, another week is passing by. Ugh, I put so much work in. I'm doing everything right. It's like, So it's, you have to accept it, that it's part of the process. It's part of the journey, ultimate, and that's life. That's life. It's not gonna be all rainbows and sunshine throughout everything. It's gonna be a lot of hardships, and for me, those are losses now. And sometimes I even say, like, "Oh my God, I've been through so much in the last 2 years that, like, what is one match? Like, whatever, like life goes on." And also, a huge thing is like being in a state of gratitude. And as cheesy as it sounds, it helps so much to just bring yourself back to reality. Like as soon as you start complaining or like start with negative stuff, be grateful. Look where you are. Look how far you've come. Like give yourself some credit. Pat yourself on the back. Be kinder to yourself. And accept, and then it's easier to accept that negativity, and to move on, because we can always life is just about like perspective, how you look on things in life. You can always look in different ways, and you put yourself in a certain state of mind. I'm like, I'm not gonna let tennis destroy my mood for the rest of the day. I went after and I did something that makes me happy. Really nice coffee at a nice coffee shop and a walk by myself. And I know that makes me happy, so I'm gonna go do that after the match. And instantly I felt better. So it's just knowing yourself and being kinder to yourself and being grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pointing to my next question. We have still two questions. If you can answer regarding boundaries, you mentioned them before, and now you've set the boundaries and you've explained the boundaries that you put on yourself. Because this actually, we can only put boundaries for ourselves, how we behave, how we function, what we do, and then we can live in the world. Because if we don't have these boundaries, that you are negative or that you are overwhelming yourself, you're gonna lose it either way. So how is this setting the boundaries and being in the feminine energy for yourself in competitive world, but still being a woman? How do you feel this? How do you maybe see in others, like you mentioned, the girls and maybe coaches, some of them, that there's no boundaries or that they are out of the world?
Yeah, you really notice it, you notice it more and more. You see the people that are really like working on themselves, and you see people that are not. There's literally no boundaries, and it's just like, it's very obvious, and how they treat others, and it just like it applies to everything. But it's another thing that you have to come to that conclusion on your own, and you have to figure it out on your own. I mean, some people need some guidance with it, especially with tennis. It's like so like self-centered.
The last question, love for life, love for tennis, love for your boys. How do you feel it? How do you live it? How do you experience it in your authentic way? As you were authentic today in this conversation, so what can you add in that subject?
In the love subject, how do I experience love? It's a good question. I think it's just like in the little things, like appreciating the little moments, like of like when you're just there present in the moment, like with the boys, like when I'm just there with them, the littlest things, it's the signs of love that it just makes me feel so fulfilled and so happy. I can't even describe. Like it comes with a cost too. What I'm doing is, I sacrifice a lot being away from them. So like the time that I'm with them, I really cherish those moments, and it's just like you can't describe it. And then on the court and with people around me, like I just posted on my story after the match. I congratulated the girl, and she wrote me. She's like, "Oh my God, that's so nice of you," and she reposted it, and I'm like, why can't we? We're all in this together. Yeah, when we're on the court, it's a war zone. Like, I want to win, you want to win, and we're going to fight and have a good match. But off the court, why can't we help each other and be friendly or friends? And we're in this together, And I'm with another roommate now. We just spoke about it too. And um, why not live a life with like being kind to each other and spread love? And it's just so much better to live like that instead of just looking at everything as competition. And so I try to just bring it wherever I go, and I want to leave, like whenever I'm talking to somebody, like I want them to feel better after they leave the room, and that makes me really happy and fulfilled. Like last night, I was talking to a girl. She's 21, and she's really good player, like great results, and we just had such a good conversation. And she talked to me this morning. She's like, "Oh my God!" I just called my mom after, and I was like, "I just had one of the most inspiring conversations." It's just like that just made my day. Honestly, it's way more important than one tennis match. So stuff like that is why I'm doing this, what I'm doing, and the journey, and just finding love in little things and in people and everything. Yeah.
I'm happy that I asked you because it was an amazing answer, and everyone can follow you in your amazing podcast, an amazing journey. You have an
Yes.
amazing life, Emma. So I'm here to support. You know
Yeah.
that I'm available, and just continue your authentic path. Thank you.
Thank you for everything so much.